Welcome to the show and welcome to White Bear, Red Sun. This is pre-dreadnought naval battles for the Russo-Japanese War. On the 13th of April 1904, Admiral Makarov led a sortie from Port Arthur to engage Japanese forces laying mines and attacking the armed cruiser Bayan. Initially avoiding the minefield, Makarov quickly realised he was heavily outnumbered and ordered his ships to retreat. On return to harbour, the flagship Petropavlovsk hit a mine and sank, along with Admiral Makarov. The forces for this scenario are as follows. The Russians, obviously Admiral Makarov in charge, who's an exceptional admiral. Petropavlovsk, the battleship, with Poltava. The Bayan, who will be already deployed. And Askold, Polada and Novik, the protected cruisers. The Japanese are led by Admiral Togo, also exceptional. And for those admirals, I forgot to say they can add 2 action points to each dice roll for every ship within 18 inches. So quite useful. Anyway, he's commanding the Mikasa, Fuji and Shikishima, all battleships, the Adzuma and Osama armoured cruisers. He's got 2 flotillas of destroyers, and of course there's that hidden minefield. Well, we're on the high seas again, and the only ship knocking about at the start of this scenario is the Bayan, who's pretty much in the centre of table. Admiral Makarov and his little fleet will be coming from the left as we look. The Japanese destroyer flotillas from the top right, the armoured cruisers from the centre right, and the battleships from the bottom right. The only other thing of note is the hidden minefield, which will be the first 12 inches of the left-hand side of the table for the Russians as they come on, and indeed as they go off. So some scenario rules. As just stated, the Russian ships have to pass through that hidden minefield. Each time they do that, a ship will roll 1d6. On a 6, they will initiate a mine strike, and any hits that ship gets will then be crippled. So here's the Bayan. She has seen off the mine layers of the Japanese, but now is looking rather worried because there's some armoured cruisers and a couple of destroyer flotillas chasing after her. She may well do a reverse ferret shortly, but of course Admiral Makarov is coming to the rescue. We'll start with some initiative, and it goes to the Russians. So we'll see Admiral Makarov start to hove to on the horizon. So let's see how many action points he has. 5. I don't think he'll be using that many, but certainly he'll be using 1 to go maximum speed of 6. Petropavlovsk leading the way. I'll have to do an immediate roll because we're in the minefield. Petro's okay, and so is Polada. Action points now for the destroyer flotillas, top right as we look. 2. And they'll just go max speed and head for the Bayan. And they'll go either side of the Russian ship. Next up, it's the Adzuma and Osama. 3, and they'll just go max chat, which is 7. And finally, from the bottom right-hand corner of the table, the battleships, here they come. Admiral Tojo in Mikasa leading the way. Then it's the Shikishima and Fuji. Hands to action stations for the Bayan. The armoured cruisers are in range. Attack factor of 3 reduced to 2 because it's long range. And a defensive factor on the Adzuma of 4. 2-4. 7-10, no effect. And I guess the Adzuma will fire back, but she's going to be -2. 1 for the range and 1 because the centre line extends across the target. So it's 1-4. 3-10, no effect. And that's the end of turn. Captain of the Bayan realises he's in a lot of bother now. We've got the battleships to the foreground. He's got the armoured cruisers on his starboard bow, and directly to his front he has got the destroyer flotillas looming large. He needs to get out there quick. Initiative. Japanese. However, they will get the Russians to go first. Let's do the Bayan first. 3. So it's going to be turn and max speed, which for an armoured cruiser is 7. Admiral Makarov. 1 plus 2 is 3. Handy. Again, max speed. Takes him just out of that minefield, but he'll have to roll again. Askold and the Polada. Right, let's roll again for the mine action. No, 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 no. So all Russian ships are safe at the moment. So Japanese destroyer flotillas, I think they'll come over this side. Actually, they won't split. Now the Bayan's moved. Action points 2. They will turn and go max speed. Adzuma and Osama, they can get a +2 because they're within 18 inches of the flagship. Plenty there, that's 7. They will go max speed and turn to starboard. And finally Togo in the Mikasa leading his line astern, he'll get 4 max speed. Firing, Adzuma will open fire, long range, -1, so it's 2-4. Which is 7-9, no effect. And I think the Bayan will open fire on this destroyer flotilla. So Bayan's attack factor is 2, he loses 1 because of long range, and the destroyer's defense factor is also 2, so it's 2-2. Which is 6-8, no effect. End of turn. Initiative. Japanese again. They'll get the Russians to go first. Bayan will go first, he gets +2 on this. So that's 4, plenty there. He'll continue to go max chat and bear to port. And here come the Russians. 5. They'll continue as they are. The Novik bringing up the rear with the vodka and the gear. Need to roll again for the Minefield. Petro's okay, but the remainder of them will have to roll. Poltava first. Ooh! Well, there's some mine action here. For a mine strike, it's attack factor 2 and defensive factor 2, regardless of ship type. So that's 7-4. Any hits on the target will automatically cause the ship to become crippled. And if the attack die roll was even, well, it wasn't, it was a 5, so that's fortunate. But if it was even, then the target is automatically sunk. But anyway, Poltava's crippled. Boom. So she is dead in the water. Alright, let's move on to the Askold. She's okay. The Pallada is next. Oh, God, blimey. Another 6. Right, 2-2. She's okay, actually. And finally, the Novik. She's okay. But not good for the Russians. Okie dokie, Japanese destroyer flotillas. They have 2 action points. Now they can't get within 6 inches of the Bayan if they want to go max speed and turn, so that's a shame. They'll just go max speed and turn a little bit. And the other flotilla will follow behind. Adzuma and Osama, they get 5, plenty there. They would continue to go max speed and bear away to starboard. And Togo and the big boys coming, they all get 6, no problem there. I think again they'll just continue on that course, max speed. Japanese firing. The destroyers are out of range for torpedoes and they can't get within 6 inches, so they're no good. So let's switch to the armoured cruisers and Adzuma here. This chap, old Osama, is out of range, or out of arc rather. Attack factor 2, defensive factor 4. 6-7, no effect. And Bayan will again engage the destroyer flotilla. 3-2. 4-6, no effect. And that is the end of turn. Initiative is Japanese again. Well, no change here. They'll get the Russians to go first. I'll do Bayan first. He gets 4 +2, there's plenty there. He will turn to starboard and go normal speed, I think. He's going to try and sort out some destroyers before he disappears. Admiral Makarov now looking behind him at Poltava, seeing the ship is crippled and not moving. What's he going to do? I think he's going to go for it at the moment. Well, that's 1 +2 is 3, so he's got enough there. Max speed. Askold will have to turn. Pallada will follow, and Novik bringing up the rear. I'll have to roll for the Askold, Pallada and Novik again in the mines. Askold's okay. Pallada's okay. But Novik is hit. Ooh. 2-2. 8-6. And it's an even number. Boom. Novik sinks.
Admiral Makarov looks behind him in horror. The Poltava is dead in the water, crippled from a mine strike, and the Novik has just gone plunging to the depths. Well, I think he's going to have to reverse ferret rather rapido now, because Togo's battleships are looming. Right, first of all, let's do the destroyers. They get 2, so they will close for the kill. Both within 6-inch range now and can have their 1 attack. Adzuma and Osama, they get 4. They'll continue on that course and perhaps have a go if the torpedoes don't do their business. And it's now over to Togo. Well, more action points than he can shake a stick out there. He will turn to starboard and go max speed. So 2 attacks by the destroyer flotillas here. The front one here, it's attack factor of 2 versus a defensive factor of 4. 2-4. Well, that's 7 all. Well, that's a hit. So that means the Bayan's firing will be at -1 when he has his go, if he gets his go. Second flotilla coming up. 2-4. 8-7. 1 level of damage. And if you're a torpedo, 1 level of damage is crippled. Oh my lordy. Bang. No movement. -2 on defensive factor. Need 4 APs to repair to silenced. Unlucky. And although it's in a nice arc for Adzuma, I'm not going to allow them to fire over the destroyers at the Bayan. So that's no firing from the armoured cruisers for the Japanese. But let's go to the battleships. Well, unfortunately they're out of range actually, so Togo needs to get his skates on. That is the end of turn. Critical time for initiative. Oh, would you believe it? It's gone to the Japanese again. And they'll get the Russians to go first. Right, action points for Makarov is 2, plus 2 is 4. Now, can't do anything damage repair with regards to him, so that's a shame. I think, though, it is Albert Turner and go back to Port Arthur. He will turn. And, ooh, he can only go 90 degrees. Okay, he'll go there. And the Bayan and the Poltava are crippled and can't move. So they're wallowing in the water. Japanese move now, and this destroyer flotilla, they've had their 1 attack and they're off. I'll not bother rolling for that. Just take them away. However, an ideal opportunity for the Japanese armoured cruisers to hit the Bayan. 4 action points, more than enough. They will turn to port and go max speed. And Admiral Togo gets 5. Max speed and a slight turn to port, I believe. So now we'll have some armoured cruiser action. Both Japanese ships can engage. Attack factor 3, plus 1 because of Osama supporting. And because the Bayan is crippled, it's a -2 for her. So it's 4-2. 8-4, double. 2 levels of damage. And a crippled ship taking 2 levels of damage is gone. Boom. Bayan bites the dust. Now she will fire back at -1 because of the damage and -1 because of the range. 2-5. 8-9. Not good enough. A miss. End of turn. Well, it's all going Pete Tong for Makarov and his little flotilla. He's damaged, the Poltava is crippled, and the other 2 protected cruisers are okay, but they're going to be massively outgunned by the Japanese battleships, which are looming on their port side. Very rapido. Initiative. Let's see what happens here. Well, can you believe it? It's with the Japanese again. Right. They'll get the Russian to go first. Action points is going to be 5. Now, you can't recover from damaged, so that's no good. They'll just have to turn and go for home. Back through the minefield. And that's about it. Togo's gang. Yeah, more than enough. They will turn to port slightly and go max. Adzuma and Osama. Adzuma and Osama will also do the same. Turn to port and go max chat. Well, the armoured cruisers will open first at the rearmost Russian ship, which is the Pallada. The Osama is just in range, so it is supported fire here. 3-all. And that's a hit. Well, Togo's not best positioned here, but he's going to go for the Pallada with supporting fire from the Shikishima. Attack factor 4, defensive factor 3. 8, 6, damaged. Well, I'll be getting my ships mixed up. That's the Askold and that's the Pallada. But either way, it doesn't really matter. They will both open fire on the Mikasa here. Attack factor 1, because of range and also the damage. Defense factor 5. Funny old thing, no effect. End of turn. Initiative. Well, bugger me, that's the first time the Russians have got it. Makarov will signal to Askold and Pallada to get back to Port Arthur ASAP. Plenty of action points. Away they go. However, they're in the minefield again. Petropavlovsk. Ooh. Avoided history. Askold. Now, she's hit a mine. Attack factor 2, defensive factor 2. Doesn't really matter. It's a hit and it's even. Boom. Askold is gone. Sunk. Crikey. This is carnage. And finally the Pallada. She's okay. Togo and the Mikasa will just carry on that course. They go max speed, but I think, to be honest, the Russians are escaping. And for the armoured cruisers, they're within 18 inches. They get 3 action points. Slight turn to port and max speed. Russian firing. Flagship is out of range. Pallada can open fire and will go for the Mikasa. 1-5. No effect. Meanwhile, Togo in the Mikasa will signal Adzuma and they will concentrate their fire on matey there, the Poltava. See if they can sink her. 4-3 because Poltava is crippled and can't move. 6-5. That's 1 level of damage, but if you're crippled you need 2 to get to sinking. So that unfortunately is no effect for the Japanese. Right, initiative. Goes with the Russians. They are going to escape the Japanese fleet through that minefield. The Japanese will not follow, but I will just have to do 1 more roll for each ship as they go through that minefield. Petropavlovsk first. He's okay. Escaped. Makarov lives to fight another day. Pallada. Oh, blimey. Strike. It's 2-2. It's even. Oh, I think she got away with that. Must have been a dud. Alright, she escapes as well. Well, there we go. A comprehensive victory for the Japanese there. Makarov's gone back to Port Arthur, tail firmly between his legs. He's lost too many ships today. Outgunned, outmanoeuvred and outthought by the Japanese. Sneaky little chaps they are, setting a trap using the minefield. Anyway, good fun, even though history wasn't quite repeated there.